My first duty tonight here is to introduce to you your keynote speaker. Jim Hightower has been a writer, a public speaker, an author, a politician, a ne'er-do-well, a consumer advocate. Molly Ivins, the great humor writer and one of our good friends, our mutual good friends, said of Jim, if Will Rogers and Mother Jones had had a baby, Jim Hightower would have been that rambunctious child, mad as hell with a sense of humor. Just to know a little bit about Jim Hightower without going to all the stuff that he's done, I mean, he's written a bunch of books, and if you just read the titles of his books, you know a little bit about Jim Hightower. Thieves in High Places. They've stolen our country, and it's time to take it back. If the gods had meant us to vote, they would have given us candidates. Now, before I say the last one, I came as a young politician working out in East Texas, working lots of campaigns. My first campaign that brought me to Austin and put me on my trail to infamy was coming to Austin to work for Jim Hightower when he ran for Texas Agriculture Commissioner. And so the thing I learned from working for Jim Hightower is the title of the book, that there's nothing in the middle of the road but yellow stripes and dead armadillos. And I've lived by that title ever since I first heard you say it, Jim Hightower. So, without further ado, the man who was twice Texas State Agriculture Commissioner. The positive on that is that the third time would have been a charm, Jim, when he got beat by Rick Perry. So we're going to blame everything that's happened since then on Jim Hightower, my friend.
Good job. Good job. Thank you. Thank you, Glenn Maxey. Oscar Wilde said, "Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken." And that pretty well sums up Glenn Maxey, don't you think? You can't get more yourself than Glenn. Thanks to Marianne Frieden for the tremendous work that you and all the volunteers of this great county party have put together here. This is the source of our great strength, and it's evidenced here tonight by this wonderful turnout and wonderful spirit that we have. And also to be with Alberto Hinojosa, my longtime pal from my stumping days down in South Texas, right on through working with him in the new Texas Democratic Party to go grassroots and see if we can't make something actually happen in this state. So it's a thank you so much for allowing a scruffy Austin populist to come in here to Williamson County, and I didn't even get tasered or frisked. So pretty impressive. Thank you for that. And it just makes me happier than a flea at a dog show to be standing up here looking out at all of you true blue Sun City Dems, you grassroots champions of common sense and the common good, you corporate greed whackers and Republican butt kickers, you agitators. Because we agitate for economic fairness, social justice, and equal opportunity for all people. That's what the Democratic Party stands for. That's what America stands for. So it's a joy to be here in the Sun City Ballroom for this Turn Texas Blue Barbecue Palooza and to share the stage with folks like Louis Minor over here, about to put him in the Congress of the United States of America. Yeah. There was a guy, Louis, about 100 years ago, his name was Ken Hubbard. He was a predecessor, really, of Will Rogers and humorist. And he once said, every now and then an innocent man gets sent to the legislature. So it could happen to you. I hope so. And to Mike Collier, Joe Spiro, and all the other go-get-em Democratic candidates here, all I can say is battling the Republican BSers and the right-wing nutballs is just about as much fun as you can have with your clothes on. So get out there and get after them. Speaking of nuts, I was in Maine not this summer, summer before last, and I was coming down Route 1, Belfast, Maine, little town on the shore there, and I came across this big sign, and it was Perry's Nut House. And to me, that explains why he's not running for re-election. He's got a franchise operation going here. And underneath, the big old picture of an elephant here, and underneath the Perry's Nut House, lots and lots of nuts, curiosities, and fudge. You can't make this shit up, can you? This is just too absolutely wonderful. Well, you know, he is, after all, the guy who puts the goober in gubernatorial, right? So why not? There was Barack Obama yesterday in Dallas talking about 1.4 million people in this state, low-income folks who will not be added to Medicaid because Perry refused the money. Not a little bit of money, $100 billion over 10 years would come our way there. But he said it was trapping people in a cycle of dependency. Yeah, we don't want to be dependent on getting health care. That would be wrong. Of course, Perry gets health care from the government, right? Yet Rick is no longer the nuttiest Republican in Texas politics. And I know where you think I'm going, but I got to take a little detour for Steve Stockman over in East Texas. Steve is a Republican Congress critter over there, and he's up for re-election. He's got a bumper sticker that said, "If babies had guns, they would not be aborted." Well, there's some truth to that at a strange level. But for seriously nutty, truly dangerous daffiness, take Ted Cruz. Please. This bag of bilious ego is the leading loudmouth to kill Obamacare and replace it with a GOP healthcare program, which is we don't care. Compared his crusade to stop Obamacare to stopping Hitler. Said that his little filibuster up there in Washington, you see, in Texas, you really have to filibuster. You got to stand. You can't lean against your desk. You can have somebody else speak for you, like Wendy Davis did. But in Washington, you can read Green's ham and spam. You know, he compared it to the Bataan Death March. A guy who never served in the military, of course. Said that he doesn't need any, by God, government health care. And you might think that he was taking a stand on principle there. Well, no, actually, he gets health care from his wife. She's a partner in Goldman Sachs. She gets a health care plan that they pay $40,000 a year premium to get her and Ted health care. I hear a guy like Ted Cruz, Babylon, and I think, 100,000 sperm and you were the fastest? Well, the sad thing here is that Cruz, Perry, and company are not an aberration in Republican politics. They are the Republican Party. Bill Moyer said it well. He said that the delusional is no longer marginal. It has come in from the fringe to sit in the seat of power, not just in Austin, but nationally, in Congress, on Wall Street, in the corporate suites and boardrooms. The powers that be now feel entitled to separate their good fortunes from the well-being of the rest of us. And by the rest of us, I don't mean just the poor, but the middle class as well, who are becoming the poor. We now have a third of the people of the United States of America in poverty, either in abject poverty or in near poverty. That's why I saw a bumper sticker not long ago that said, "Where are we going and what am I doing in this handbasket?" Folks have a clue, you know. They know something's gone wrong. my old daddy, I grew up in Denison, Texas, and I got to be aware of Texans telling daddy stories, but I had a pretty good one up there, and he expressed his political philosophy to me once. He didn't know he had a political philosophy, but it was in these terms. He said, Jim, everybody does better when everybody does better. That's our philosophy. That's the Democratic philosophy. Next generation, not just us, the next generation being left behind. I don't know if you saw the New York Times article yesterday about spending per pupil in education in America, pointing out that as income and wealth continue to flow to the richest families, to the richest neighborhoods, public education appears to be more of a force contributing to inequality of income and opportunity. And you look down the list that they drew here of all the states. Texas, 9th from the bottom in funding education in our country. Alabama is ahead of us, by the way. Georgia is ahead of us. Arkansas, for God's sake, is ahead of us. That's a state that runs on fruit stands, you know. I mean, we're a rich state. We're not a poverty state. We're a rich state. This is immoral, is what it really is. In 30 years' time, we've gone from Ronald Reagan's trickle-down economics to the Koch brothers' tinkle-down economics. Inequality is now widening at just warp speed. I'll tell you the hardship story of one family. 6 households in this family: Christy, Jim, Alice, Robbie, Ann, and Nancy. Theirs is a touching tale of the United States of inequality. They're the Waltons. They have $106 billion in personal wealth between them. They are the inheritors of Walmart fortune. They have more wealth than the entire bottom 40% of American households combined. They have more wealth than 127 million Americans have. 6 people, more than 127 million of us. You know, they talk about their net worth, you know, but net worth does not have anything to do with worthiness. They didn't do anything. They inherited this money. They did nothing to earn that. Some of these people getting so rich they could afford to air condition hell, and I tell you what, they better be setting some money aside for that project, I think. This is why one fellow has recently referred to it as savage capitalism. The worship of the golden calf of old has found a new and heartless image in the cult of money and the dictatorship of an economy lacking in any truly humane goal. That's Pope Francis, the Bishop of Rome. It's a moral issue. It's a moral fight that we're involved in here. And speaking of wealth, Lloyd Blankfein, CEO of Goldman Sachs, he sacked up $13.3 million in pay last year, but recognizing that greed masters like him have a public approval rating just beneath mad cow disease now, Blankfein and company have decided they want you to know that they care. They feel your pain. They're reaching out to you. So the Goldman Sachs Foundation, last year, they goosed it up, and it's now putting out $241 million in good deed grants to women's groups and small business people, and it said it's now the 4th largest corporate charity in America. We want to give back, he said. Generous, huh? Well, they say that they are philanthropists. Hallelujah. See, because we make money, that allows us to be engaged in charity. Their total contribution, $241 million last year, that is 0.7% of Goldman Sachs' income. Poor people give 3.2%. Poor people, the poorest people in our society, give 3.2%. I'll tell you a quick story about what the gods think of charity. Over here in Louisiana, we got some people here. Yeah. Hey, I love Louisiana. From old Earl Long, when he was governor over there, he told a story about a rich man who died and tried to get into heaven. You know, but if you'd gone to that little Methodist church that I did up in Denison, Texas, you know, you just don't go into heaven, right? I mean, you appear at the pearly gates, and there's an angel there going to review your life. And then St. Peter, behind the gates, decides whether you get to come in or not. So here comes this rich man. And the angel looks over his life and said, "My God, you never did no good for nobody, no way. What are you doing here?" And the rich man said, "Well, now, wait a minute. Don't you remember that time in 1924 that widow woman needed carfare home and I gave her a nickel?" And the angel said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, 1934. There was that blind man on the street and I put a nickel in his cup." Angel said, "That doesn't make up for a life of greed." And the rich man said, "Now, wait a minute. I've got a consistent pattern of philanthropy. 1944, I came out of my bank. It was Christmas time. There was a Salvation Army kettle, and I put a nickel in there." And so the angel turns back to St. Peter and says, "What in the world are we going to do with this man?" And St. Peter said, "Give him back his 15 cents and tell him to go to hell." Because you see, it's not charity that we want. It's economic fairness, social justice, equal opportunity for all people. That's what we represent. That's what we want. Now, I come to you not just from Austin, but from South Austin. Yeah. A little different attitude over there. And our unofficial slogan on the South Side is, "We're all here because we're not all there." And I think that's why we're all here tonight, because the powers that be are not at all there. The downsizers and privatizers, the XL pipeliners and big old frackers, the bankers and bosses, big shots, bastards and bullshitters, not at all there on these essential values of fairness and justice and opportunity for all. Nor are Perry and Cruz and the whole GOP gaggle. They're as confused as goats on AstroTurf when it comes to understanding what it is to be an American, what it is to live in this democratic republic. Again, this is not just merely a matter of politics, but a fundamental morality of who we are, who we're going to be as a society and as a people. So my message to you, and I'm sure you're wondering what it is by now, is this. It's not up to Obama. It is not up to Congress. It's up to you and me, as it always has been in this great country. The heavy lifting has always been done by grassroots folks. Woody Guthrie said many years ago, he said, "Rich folks took your money," saying to the Dust Bowl people, said, "Rich folks took your money with politics, and you can get it back with politics." That's what we're engaged in. Fairness, justice, equal opportunity for all people. Now that's real politics, populist politics, not right to left. That's theory, but top to bottom. That's experience. That's where we live. That's our zip code. You can find yourself in that. They got the fat cats, but we got the alley cats, and many more of us than there are of them. People are ready for that kind of politics. I do a lot of traveling across America, around here in Texas as well, and I find that people everywhere looking for a way not to take America back, as the Tea Party people say. They've taken us back to the robber baron period, the 1860s already, but to move America forward toward those ideals of justice, fairness, and opportunity for all. Our party must be that way. We must be the path for people to achieve fairness, justice, and opportunity for all. You've made a great start here in Williamson County. What you're building, precinct by precinct, door to door, issue by issue, candidate by candidate, is the true way. It's the honest way, the grassroots way, the winning way to turn Texas blue. This is how we do it. You don't do it with TV ads. You don't do it with money from corporate interests. You do it by ordinary people getting together just like you were doing here tonight and you've been doing for the last several while. The good news is you're not alone. We now have a state party, a leadership that's committed to grassroots, that's committed to organizing, to targeting, training, recruiting, coordinating, committed to winning. Not just, let's try not to lose, but what have we tried to win? That's what we've got to be about. I got a friend down in Austin, John Dromgoole. He's a great pioneer in the organic movement. he said to me, he said, well, Hightower, those who say it cannot be done should not interrupt those who are doing it. And that would be you. Wendy Davis, only 5 points down in the latest poll. Only 5 points down in the latest poll. They say it can't be done. Look at that number. But Wendy can't do it alone. She's got to have a strong party, a strong grassroots Democratic Party organized at precinct, county, statewide level. Strong party. That's you. That's who you are. And so does Louis need a strong party if he's going to get to Congress. So does Mike and all the others who are trying to get there. We need a combination of good candidates with a party organization that brings us together. You know, I compare the party to a little hardware store near my home in Austin. It's called Harold's Hardware. It's a great little place. It's not a big box thing. It's about half the size of this room right here, but it's a great place. You don't have to buy that whole carton of nails. They'll sell you 2 nails if that's what you need. They'll say, well, what are you trying to do? Well, I was going to build a lectern. Well, let's pencil it out here and see what you need. And they'll loan you a tool. You can take a tool home and bring it back. And so the slogan at Harold's Hardware is, together, we can do it yourself. That's got to be our slogan, doesn't it? We can't do it ourselves. But together, we can do it all. And we can certainly turn Texas blue, so let's do it. Let's just go do it. You know, I, again, grew up in a little town of Denison, Texas, and I was a small guy in a small town. And I learned early on that you should never hit a man with glasses. You should use something much heavier. And our party's heaviest force is you. Your ideas, your creativity, energy, contacts, hard work, determination, and yeah, a little dab of money. The party needs you to support it because you are it. You're supporting yourself when you become a contributing member to the party, a sustaining member of the party. So do that as well. But mostly, just trust yourself, trust your beliefs, trust your possibilities that you have, because you can do it. You can make this difference, and we will turn Texas blue. I'll leave you with this thought. It's from that great rocker, Patti Smith, who had that song, people have the power to dream, to rule, to wrestle the world from fools. Wrestle the world from fools. Thank you for what you're doing to get that happening. Proud to be a part of it.